All right, good Wednesday morning, everybody. We are live here on Kent's 5. It is a mostly clear day, and it is pretty warm out there at 137. I think we're hanging in the lower 90s right now as temperatures continue to trend to probably about 100 to 101 this afternoon. So it's going to be hot. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below and join the conversation. We'll be live for the next 15 minutes or so. And so notice that one screen is showing, the 4 different shots of San Antonio. For example, Morgan's Wonderland, Camp Calaveras Lake, the airports. It's all a clear sky with some high altitude cirrus clouds overhead. No rain. I mean, the entire state, and I would say most of the south, is pretty dry. The next chance for rain we have is this weekend, but it's going to be very isolated activity, which we'll get into detail in just a bit, but just want to make sure audio is working okay before we get started. And it sounds decent at this hour. Okay, so it's a clear sky and there's Calaveras Lake. So yesterday we had several reports of a huge earthquake on the other side of the Pacific Ocean. First and foremost, this is not going to have any impacts on us here in South Texas or San Antonio or anywhere across the state. But this was the big story this morning and late last night because there were several tsunami warnings, tsunami alerts, advisories, watches, etc. across the Pacific Ocean. From Japan to the western coast of the U.S., from Alaska to Hawaii, I mean, it was everywhere. Now the good news is that a lot of these have expired. The warnings have been canceled. There are several advisories, from California, Pacific Northwest, just for some higher water levels, like running like 1 to 3 feet above the normal heights for those parts of the country. But the good news is for Hawaii, from what I've understood, the tsunami warnings have been canceled and everything's okay for right now. Just higher than normal water levels, the water kind of sloshing around a little bit, causing some concerns for coastal regions, but the main threat looks to be diminished for the time being. Now, that specific earthquake was in Russia, an 8.8 earthquake on the Richter scale. That is pretty massive. From what I read, the depth of this earthquake, while the intensity, the magnitude was 8.8, the depth was at about 45 to 50 miles below the surface. So that's indicative of a very strong surge of shake below the Earth's surface into the tectonic plates and the geological areas of the northern hemisphere. When you compare that 8.8 to like the all-time record, the strongest earthquake on record since 1900, which was back in 1960 in Chile, that was a 9.5. Back in Alaska in 1964, a 9.2. So the one yesterday in Russia is the 6th strongest earthquake on record. So it just shows you where it ranks in the grand scheme of things across the world. And again, it was the strongest earthquake since 2011, but the 6th strongest on record in the world. Incredible. All right, so out there right now, it's 95 degrees. This is interesting. So air temperature is 95. It's already pretty hot, and it's only like lunchtime. It's not even 2 o'clock yet. Now, because of the air temperature and most importantly, the dew point, the humidity is so low. If you look closely, the relative humidity is at 17%, the dew point's at 44 degrees. So that's just indicating a very dry, desert-like atmosphere. Now, when you have very dry air, it's the opposite of humidity. So humidity makes it feel hotter, but the dry air makes it feel a little bit cooler. Matter of fact, this morning we reached a record morning low of 67 degrees, which beat the daily record of 68. So it was a little chilly this morning, and that is courtesy of all the dry air, the lower humidity that's in the atmosphere right now. Now, one thing that'll help boost the air temperature more, but it'll feel a little cooler. It's just give and take. The humidity makes it feel hotter because to our bodies, the moisture doesn't allow for our bodies to sweat more efficiently. So that's why, and sweating is a cooling process. So when you can't sweat as efficiently, it feels hotter than to our bodies. And when the air temperature is hot and the humidity is low, it's the opposite effect. It's kind of what happens like in the wintertime, like in December, January, and February, where we get cold fronts moving in, and that knocks out the humidity, and that brings in drier, cooler air, and that creates a wind chill factor. It's not the same exact thing, not the same exact process, but it's similar. 95 feels like 91 because of how dry the air is versus how humid the air could be. Okay, 95 in the city, 93 at Bulverde, 93 at Bandera, degree better at Hondo. No triple digits on the map yet, but Austin is very, very close at 98 degrees, 94 at Hallettsville, 92 at Uvalde, 93 at Del Rio, same thing at Eagle Pass. Today's timeline, I think San Antonio makes it to about 100 degrees. It's going to be a sunny and hot day and a mostly clear afternoon and sky. Tonight, if you have any outdoor plans, just wait till after sunset for a walk, for hanging out with the family outdoors, or if you're walking your dog outside. Just because the pavement, the sidewalk, the asphalt can be very hot. Matter of fact, it can be like 20 to 30 degrees hotter than the actual air temperature because it absorbs heat. So again, just be careful if you're outdoors at any period of time, not just like walking on pavement and cement, but also drinking plenty of water, stay hydrated. Heat exhaustion, heat stroke is going to be a major concern today as daytime highs run about 3 to 5 degrees above average and some locations hitting 100 degrees. Speaking of, we've only reached 100 plus 4 total times this year. 3 of those days was back in spring, back in mid-May. The last time we hit 100 was last week on Thursday. That was the first time we reached 100 plus in summer so far, so it's incredible. When you look at 2023, a couple years ago, that was the all-time record, 75 total days at 100 or hotter. Right now we're at 4. So it just shows you the contrast between summers and between years. So 2025, definitely a lot cooler, and we're getting a lot more rain, especially earlier this month as the flooding rains really, brought headlines and concerns across the hill country in central Texas. Now, regarding rain, not much is in the forecast. On Friday night and Saturday, we may see widely scattered showers between like Houston, Austin, San Antonio, but right now only amounting to a 20% opportunity at that happening. Download the KENS 5 app. It is free in the App Store. Any updates on radar, tropical weather updates, rain, severe weather updates, we have them on the KENS 5 app. It is free. Otherwise, it's going to be a hot next couple of days, guys. Drink plenty of water. Take breaks, find shade, check up on your family and friends because this heat is likely not heading anywhere. Even though we shave off a couple degrees on Saturday and Sunday, not 100, but 97, 98 Saturday and Sunday, it's still going to be hot. Partly cloudy, mostly sunny. There's that small chance for rain. And then August begins on a similar note. Remember, the first 2 weeks of August are climatologically the hottest time of year in the northern hemisphere. So we're expecting like 99 to 100 on the 7th and 8th of August, and no big changes are expected in the long range as this typically happens this time of year. But yeah, tomorrow and Friday and even today, right around 100, a little cooler, not as hot this weekend, and then going back up to about the triple-digit century mark next Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.